Okay, who asked for this? Seriously. Under no circumstances am I the type of person that says bad games shouldn't get sequels, but Bubsy is not simply a bad game. It's 4 terrible installments and a crap television pilot, all released during an era where there were better mascot platformers out there. And I don't know if the JonTron teardown of these games made whatever is left of Accolade think we wanted another one of these after 21 years, but I think they should have just kept those thoughts to themselves and focused on something new. So, the story is, Bubsy has succeeded at retrieving his golden fleece from his enemies, known as the Woolies. They immediately come to steal it again, and Bubsy moves to get it back. This narrative, it's just high art, and it's all represented by a single screen that just pans about. I'd say that's okay actually, considering the original creator conceived the series as being more focused on gameplay instead of story, but it's
insert current year here.
And I think a bit more push is needed for me to care about a bobcat wearing a t-shirt adorned with an exclamation mark. So the story is bare bones, and unfortunately, the rest of the game basically sticks to this mold. Bubsy trots through 14 levels in his quest to recover his treasure, complete with his original gliding technique, this time backed up by a new pounce maneuver that lets him cover more ground and attack enemies at the same time, probably to make up for his lost speed. Just like in any other side-scrolling platformer, your task in each level is to reach the goal at the end, but Black Forest Games really wants you to remember that they also developed Giana Sisters' Twisted Dreams, because unlike in the previous entries in this series, except Bubsy 3D, a major focus has been placed on just collecting a ton of yarn balls. They're everywhere, and getting to many of them requires precise jumps on the 8 billion wool-stealing aliens haphazardly placed through each level. There really doesn't seem to be any kind of rhyme or reason to any of the placement of environmental objects in many of the stages, though there are some bits of hidden genius every now and then. Still, the pounce attack can miss enemies at certain distances, and jumping feels a bit fast and loose, feeling really slippery without practice and usage of the gliding technique, which still uses its own button in this game despite feeling like a double jump. The collision detection is all over the place. Combined with the controls, it's easy to miss jumps on enemies, but it's also easy to get killed by them for some reason, and there was at least one time where it seemed as if I died without any actual contact with a Woolie. Thankfully, you start each level with 9 lives, can collect t-shirt items to give you an extra hit, grabbing more while you're wearing a black shirt rewards you with extra lives, and you can see more of the freaking level, so getting killed isn't as easy as simply running right now. The boss battles are actually the most interesting part of the game, making you work to defeat them the first time, but you eventually realize how easy they are and crush them, or die a few times and win a battle of attrition due to the fact that their health doesn't regenerate for some reason. Also, there's only 3 of them and the game is over. Remember, I said 14 levels, not 14 worlds. This game is short, so combining that with the basic job done with the actual gameplay and level design makes the $30 asking price a freaking rip. There's nothing compelling you to actually collect over 600 balls of yarn per level, unlock every vault, collect every shirt, or forgo dying except maybe some achievements or trophies and a Bubsy-like obsessive tendency to collect shit. And I've gotta admit that I tend to have that, but I couldn't even do that by the end of the game. I just walked through everything to the end. The look of the game is fine, I guess. It's nice and sharp, there's no slowdown, and I guess that's it. It's unnecessarily dark for something that's supposed to be a simple and colorful platformer though. Contrast this game with titles like Yooka-Laylee and A Hat in Time. The backgrounds themselves are also devoid of any life, looking static and bland, and I almost thought they were 2D until I made some high jumps. That's another thing I can praise, is the continued attempt to emphasize verticality like in other 2D entries in this series. It's just too bad that the characters themselves make it hard to enjoy that. They all look stiff and boring, with Bubsy himself missing a lot of what made him interesting, like the crazy death and idle animations. I mean, the Woolies spin about if they're airborne, but they otherwise just walk and do nothing, kinda like in the original game. These guys do actively try to kill you though. Audio is hit or miss, with the music being decent, but Bubsy has few lines of dialogue, meaning they repeat often. Sometimes he says nothing though, and the quiet, it felt weird. Am I weird for thinking that?
Hey, I didn't write this stuff.
Bubsy The Woolies Strike Back is definitely the best game in the series, meaning it's just a basic rubbish platformer. Like, it's just competent enough to be a game someone would buy, but it's nothing you should be expecting from an established developer for sure. The hook to play and keep playing isn't even there, the presentation is sparse, and it's just... Look, I'm not saying the game shouldn't have been made. Accolade can do whatever it wants with its return to video games. It just seems like its only purpose is to remind you of better games, made by the same developer. Just play something else for Christ's sakes. Maybe something like this.
What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing, Bubsy. Nothing.